Hi everyone, Bifties here, welcome to My Exile. This video is part of my Made Easy series for Path of Exile 2. I'm trying to share everything I've learned over the first 250 hours in the game, and I'm still very much a beginner and learning every day, but I think that I've learned a lot and I can share that with you. Unfortunately, Path of Exile 2 can be incredibly complex and it probably takes thousands of hours to become an expert, but hopefully I can help you along the way and I can make your life a little bit easier. This video is all about shopping, and when I say shopping, I mean buying in-game from the vendors in the towns that you visit. Now, there's going to be 3 vendors in each town, and eventually you'll get a hideout and you can have the same vendors in your hideout as well. You're going to have 3 different vendors, one of which is going to sell magic weapons, flasks, and jewelry, rings, and amulets. You're probably not going to be spending as much time in that vendor. I think that the main vendor who sells almost all of the other gear that you're going to be using is the one that you really want to be paying the most attention to. But across both of them, you're going to be buying whatever gear is available. And if you don't know this, every time you level, the stock that they have will change. So therefore, it's always worth visiting your town as soon as you level or very soon after you level, because it can make quite a difference. Now, the reason that I've done this video is because in normal games or other RPGs, I'm coming over from Diablo 4 most recently. In those games, I would have used a vendor mostly to sell my items, and then if I wasn't selling my items because I've progressed to a certain extent, I'd probably be breaking them down into resources instead because I have enough gold by that point. But Path of Exile 2 is not like other ARPGs. I've gone through the campaign multiple times so far, and I've done a small amount of end game, and the majority of the gear that I've had across all of my classes, I reckon I have got more from vendors than I have from looting. And I think that that's really unusual. In the past, I would think that most of it comes from looting, and I would spend very little time looking at what the vendors have. But I think that GGG have done this deliberately. I think they've made the vendors actually worth looking at. And I actually look forward to when I level, I will go back to the towns. Hopefully my inventory is full. It's time to sell or salvage. And I get to see whether or not there's anything good that's worth buying. Now, most of the gear that you buy will probably require crafting, but you'll be looking for particular stats on items. I want to do a video about gear and what you should be looking for, but I think it's okay to cover some of that in this video. And what you're probably looking for is, let's say, for boots. I don't see any reason to have boots that don't have movement speed on them. Movement speed is incredibly helpful. Now, this might be something that in the future, when you get to become an expert or advanced in the game, that this tip isn't as useful now. But I think in the beginning, you don't want to slow down the pace at which you can move through maps, because you're looking to clear maps to get to the next boss in order to progress through the game. I think if you're moving slower, then it just makes the game a bit more of a grind. And for me, that's not as enjoyable. If you don't mind at all and you want to move slowly, that's absolutely fine. I don't think there's a lot of running away in this game, so it's certainly movement speed is more about being able to get through the maps quicker, not about trying to escape. Another example might be on your weapon. If you were to be looking at the magic vendor, as I refer to it, you might be looking at, let's say for a witch, plus levels to minion skills. Now, maybe if you're not using minions, then it'll be different, but my witch was very much based around minions, so then getting plus levels to minion skills was incredibly helpful. You might also see plus to all skills, but that seems to be much rarer, and I think that I've only really come across it on uniques, but not on standard gear. But plus to levels is incredibly useful. I might see that on a helmet, I might see that on my weapons, etc. So there's certain things that you're looking for. Now, I'm playing multiple classes, and I know that I will be playing more classes in the future. So sometimes when I go to the vendors, go shopping, I will actually buy a piece of gear that I think might be useful in the future for another class. Again, I go back to boots. I want movement speed. You're looking at a 10% increase to movement speed. I've only gone up to 25% so far, but I've certainly seen that other people have got up to 35%. I think that's the maximum, but I could be wrong. Maybe they'll even increase it in the future. But anytime I see a pair of boots that have movement speed, then I will actually buy those and I will keep them in my stash. I did a video recently about stash tabs, so if you want to go and check that out, I'll put a link in the description. I think that might help you. But I think it's worth buying certain things that you see. If you've got other classes that you're trying out, then maybe you see a weapon when you're there that has plus to melee skills or something like that for your warrior maybe. So I think it's worth keeping an eye out. But like I said, most of the gear that I am using, I have actually got from vendors rather than looting, and then I've used crafting in order to make it better and better, because what you're really looking for is probably 1 or 2 stats that are really important to you, and then the rest you're willing to accept, and then you can do crafting, and if you get something bad, then maybe you don't bother switching to it. If you get something really good, then you can switch over, and it makes a real difference if you have better gear. The other vendor that's available will be the Gambler. In the first town, that's Finn. I forget the names of the other vendors, but here you can actually pay money, but you're also limited on how many times you can do it, but you can try and get certain gear. And what I've been doing when I start a new class, as soon as I get to Clearfell, then what I'll do is I'll actually move over to Finn. I've got enough gold at this point, and I did have enough chances to try it. So then I'll go in and maybe I will buy 3 or 4. You can see when you buy them as to whether or not they're going to be blue or yellow, either magic or rare. And you can tell it before you identify it if it's that. So I might buy 3 or 4 until I get a yellow, a rare, and then I can identify those, sell the other ones. And that will be a great boost to a new character to start off at the very beginning of the game. And later on, you can do something similar if you want. You think, hang on a minute, I haven't upgraded for quite some time, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and gamble a bit, and I'm going to see. Now, I've read online that people have got uniques from gambling. I didn't know that that was possible. I haven't seen it myself, but that's great to know. So now you know that you might get a magic, you might get a rare, you might even get a unique. So it's worth doing, but just be aware in the bottom right-hand corner of his shop, you will see how many opportunities you have left. So you are spending money in order to do it, but you are also limited. I started a number of different classes recently, and actually I used up all of it. I didn't know that there was a limit, but when you go and kill unique monsters, apparently you get charges back in that. So try not to use them all up, but that's a simple breakdown to the 3 vendors that are available to you. They are really worth using, and like I said, the best time to check them out is just as you level. You only have to look once each level, and obviously in the early parts of the game, you're leveling much faster, so you get more opportunities to actually look for chances to upgrade it. Now, that's not to say that looting isn't going to give you good gear. I'm going to do a future video on looting, but for now, I think that you'll probably find more luck from shopping and buying things from the vendors. So let me know in the comments if you disagree with anything here. If you've got any ideas about future videos that I can do, then please drop me a comment. And if you want to see these beginner guides, any more of them, then please do subscribe to the channel because it's really helpful. Really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. I'm Bifties. This is The Cave. Welcome to My Exile. See you next time.